international break is arse. Nobody cares who wins the Nations League. It doesn't matter. And for those of you out there that might defend the Nations League, let me ask you a question. Who are the current reigning champions of the Nations League?
Nobody cares.
And since we ain't got no real football on this week, just sit back and relax as I tell you a piece of lost history about England's international football. 1966, a year that will forever be remembered by all of England. It was the year they won the World Cup and brought football home. This year is amongst one of the most widely known dates in Britain. But what if I told you that it was all a lie?
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Hold on, just wait a moment. I'm not saying England didn't win the 1966 World Cup. I'm just saying that it's not the last time England won an international tournament. You're probably all confused right now, but don't worry. Let me take you back to the last time England actually won an international trophy. The 1997 Le Tournoi de France. Now you've probably never heard of the competition, Le Tournoi de France, as it doesn't exist anymore. But Le Tournoi was an international football tournament held in France as a warm-up for the World Cup. It was established by the French Football Federation, and the first edition of Le Tournoi was in 1988. The holders France won that tournament, beating both Switzerland and Morocco 2-1. But the competition would go on a hiatus for 9 years. To be honest, I couldn't really find the reason why, but back to the story. Now let me break down to you how this tournament worked. The tournament wasn't like your average international competition. It didn't constitute of many teams. It didn't have a group stage and knockout stage. The tournament was essentially a group stage. As a matter of fact, it had the exact same format as a World Cup or Euros group stage. Each team would play each other once, so a team would play a total of 3 games. A win would be awarded 3 points, a draw 1, and a loss none. Only 4 teams participated in the 1997 Le Tournoi: Brazil, England, Italy, and the host France. Brazil were led by their star boy, the 20-year-old Ronaldo. Ronaldo had just come off the greatest season of his entire career. He managed to score 47 goals in 49 games across all competitions. And if you were to add in his assists, then his GA would be 60 in 49. These are numbers that have been yet to be replicated by any player at such a young age. Even if you were to compare his stats to the 2 greatest players of all time, Messi and Ronaldo, at the age of 20, he blows them out of the water. France were led by the man with one of the best names ever, Zinedine Zidane. Italy had 3 of their all-time top goal scorers in the same squad leading their attack: Alessandro Del Piero, Inzaghi, and Christian Vieri. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, England had, how shall I put it, charismatic Paul Gascoigne, alongside the 2 highest Premier League goal scorers that season, Alan Shearer and Ian Wright respectively. Le Tournoi kicked off on the 3rd of June, with the France hosting Brazil at Lyon. Both teams held no punches, as they started their best lineups. Brazil had the attacking duo of Romario and Ronaldo. Their fullbacks were Cafu and Roberto Carlos. France had Zidane in the 10, Pires on the wing, Deschamps in the pivot, with Blanc and Desailly as the centre-back partnership. From their names, you can just tell that it was due to be an incredible game. The game kicked off, and both teams had their fair share of chances until the 20th minute. Ronaldo perfectly controlled a pass from the keeper before being fouled by the 21-year-old Vieira. The free kick was from around 40 yards out, and if you've ever even watched football once, you'd know that players just don't shoot from there, unless your name is Roberto Carlos. Roberto Carlos managed to hit the ball with enough power and swaz to reach a top speed of 136.7 kilometers per hour as the ball spun around the wall. From this frame, you think that the ball was going to fly wide, but somehow the ball curved all the way in, leaving the French keeper Barthez rooted to the spot. 1-0 Brazil. France remained trailing for 40 minutes before Marc Keller scored a rebound shot, making the game 1-1. The game ended as a draw, and so both nations would have to share the points. The next game was England versus Italy. England started off the scoring, with Ian Wright bagging from a perfect pass from Paul Scholes that floated over the Italian backline. The second goal for England came from Scholes as he thumped in a pullback from Ian Wright. Italy failed to score, and so England would go on to win the game 2-0. 3 days later, England played their second game, and this time their opponents were France. A win in this game would place one hand on the trophy for England, but could they do it? The game was tied until the 86th minute, as both teams failed to capitalise on their chances. But in the 86th minute, Barthez had an absolute howler, dropping the ball right in front of Shearer within the 6-yard box, just for him to tap it in. and given England the 1-0 victory. Due to this win, England sat in first place with 6 points, and it would all come down to Italy versus Brazil. Brazil would need the win in this game to prevent England from certain victory. So it's safe to say, I think all England fans were Italian that day.
Today I feel
Italian.
The match was a straight shootout, as 6 goals were scored, but neither team seemed to be able to best the other, as the game ended 3-3. And that was it. England were winners of Le Tournoi, as nothing could happen on the final day to change the table positions. They had done it. They had finally broken their 31-year curse and won an international trophy. But England still had a game to play against Brazil that they would end up losing. But what does it matter, as they were champions. But as I said in the beginning, Le Tournoi was simply a warm-up for the World Cup. So now that England had won Le Tournoi, surely they'd go on to win the '98 World Cup. Nope. They'd finished second in their group behind Romania before losing in the round of 16 to Argentina on penalties. Classic England fashion. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join the counter-attack.